Hi, this is Gary Puckett, and today we're going to be talking about a subject that's really important to all banjo players, especially beginners, because you want to get this right early on in your playing. That's right hand technique. If you think about playing the banjo, you really will never play any better than your right hand. If you're having trouble doing rolls or playing cleanly or hitting the string you're aiming at, adding complexities like the licks and chords and trying to keep time with the bass player won't make it any easier. It's just going to make it more complicated and more muddled up. So we're going to talk about what I consider to be good right hand technique. We'll talk about some common mistakes people make, and then we'll talk about different ways to adjust your sound, how to get different sounds out of your banjo. So our first topic will be correct right hand position. So, continuing our discussion about the right hand. There's an underlying principle that I follow that kind of drives my thinking about my right hand positioning, the way I use my right hand. And that's the simple idea that I want to work with my hand and not against it. I want to use it in a way that takes advantage of its strengths and not try to make it do something it's weak at. I'll show you what I mean. If you hold your hand up, get the right camera angle here. Now let's try wiggling your two picking fingers here from this big knuckle. Just wiggle them a little bit. Okay, now hold them still. Now try wiggling them from this smaller knuckle. Which one did you find felt more natural or felt stronger or felt like you had more control of your hand? Almost everybody will say this big knuckle. Let's try something else. Try holding your hand flat and lifting your two picking fingers up. No big deal. You've done it many years. Now try pulling them in toward your palm. Again, which motion felt stronger or felt like you had more control of your hand? Most people, again, will say the movement from the big knuckle pulling in. So that's the ideas we want to use when we're establishing a right hand position. We want to take advantage of what your hand is strongest at. Pulling in, not lifting up like that. So what I do is I cup my hand. Imagine you're holding a ping pong ball or a small egg. Okay, we should talk about anchoring. The internet's full of controversy about on the banjo forums about anchoring two fingers or one finger or whatever. I'm going to anchor my little finger and my ring finger, both of them. I feel like if you can get your hands to do that, that's preferable. However, if your ring finger won't behave, if he won't stay down, don't obsess about it. I've had students before who've come to me and they're just so frustrated and they almost give up playing because they can't get their ring finger to anchor, and everything they read says you have to do that. The way I look at it is, if you can get it to do it, if you can get your ring finger to anchor and stay down, great. If not, don't obsess about it. Just anchor your little finger. Keep playing, keep practicing, enjoy the banjo, and don't obsess over it. Who knows, in a year or so, you may find that your hand is able to do it, but don't obsess too much about it. Do the best you can with it. At least get your ring finger anchored. The ideal here is just to provide a stable, solid platform for your fingers, for your other three fingers, your two fingers and your thumb. With banjo, we don't have to take big motions with your forearm or your wrist or your fingers, big swipes, or have a lot of movement in your arm, say like classical guitar or something like that. Our movements are small and precise and controlled. So that's why we want this stable right hand. Okay, back to your hand position. So my fingers are cupped like I'm holding a little egg or something. Get the right angle here. And when I strike the strings, for right now I'm going to assign middle finger to the first string, index finger to the second string. I'll let my thumb take care of these other three. Now there's lots of exceptions to this finger assignment right now. In real life playing, once you start playing, your first finger, your index, will play the third string almost as much as it plays the second string. And your thumb will very often play the second string and even the first string. But just work with me now for this. So we're going to strike the strings, not by pulling your finger up. I've seen people do that. That's not what we want. See, we talked about earlier, that's a weak motion for your hand. We're going to pull your finger in toward your palm. Get a little better angle here for you. Okay, the next idea we want to talk about is the way your fingers line up here. I've seen just a couple banjo players play with their thumb tucked inside their hand like this. Let me get a better angle here. I've seen a couple really good players, professional level players, play that way. I've seen hundreds of good banjo players play with their thumb pushed up this way from their index finger. Not this far, but a little bit past your index finger. What you don't want to have happening is your index finger and thumb colliding or competing for space. See, my thumb's this way a little bit, so when my thumb strikes, he's not bumping into my first finger. You should be able to do whatever roll you need to do without your fingers colliding. Let's talk my wrist here. Right now I have about 2 fingers of space between my wrist and the head of the banjo. That's really important. And the way you achieve that is actually in your shoulder, by relaxing your shoulder. I've seen players play with your elbow sticking out like this. So what happens when your elbow comes up, your wrist comes down. It kind of teeter-totters over the armrest here. So keep your shoulder relaxed so that your elbow stays down. Elbow stays down, wrist comes up. You're able to strike the strings in the correct motion. See, if you're late, now this, we'll go ahead and talk about some problems I've seen with right hands. A very typical problem, and the one I've seen even some pretty decent players do, is laying your wrist on the head of the banjo. Bad idea for lots of reasons. One, so you're playing like this, you put your hand in a position where he has to pick up, like this. Again, we're using one of the weak motions of your hand and not the strong motion. Don't want to do that, no. Another bad thing that happens there is you've just thrown away about half the tone of your banjo. See, I've got this awesome Sullivan banjo, thank you Jesus, and I've just kind of killed half its awesome tone by laying my wrist on here. Another mistake I've seen people make is playing with their hand too flat. See, right now, if I had a pin here, if I were to draw a line from my big knuckle toward the banjo, my big knuckle would be floating over this 3rd or 4th string. If your hand's too flat, you'll notice this index finger knuckle is way hitting the head up here somewhere. And then you're in this situation where you have to kind of swipe at the strings. You won't be very accurate at all. If you find that you're not accurate or you're kind of messy sounding, look at your right hand. See the angle that your how you say this, that your finger is addressing the string. Not flat, but cup hovering over top the strings like this. Another problem I've seen people do, and a lot, it's easy to do, I understand, is to take big swipes at the string, to have really big motions. That's not necessary. It's detrimental. If you're playing with finger picks on a resonator banjo, it doesn't take a lot of energy to get that sound happening, get those strings going. So small, controlled motions. I never let my index finger go past the plane of my second finger. He's never going to go out here and wind up and try to attack the string. Just setting him right by the string you want. Pulling your finger in toward your palm is all you need to do. I know I'm kind of belaboring this issue, but it's so important. And again, you won't play any better than your right hand. And if you have a good, quiet right hand, suddenly all these licks that seem so difficult become a lot easier. A lot of the problems we think that are happening with your left hand aren't happening with your left hand at all. They're happening with your right hand. Let's talk a minute about your sound, getting your tone. And this is one of the fun things about banjo, are all the different tones that are available to us. Whether you pick back by the bridge or up by the neck, or anywhere in between, there's this whole palette of tone. You want something with biting and really kind of an assertive sound, kind of a Ralph Stanley kind of sound. This Dr. Stanley played Back by the Bridge. Still does. He's still with us. Thank goodness. He plays Back by the Bridge quite a bit. Yeah, it's a good sound. But that's not the right sound for every song. Other times you can play up by the neck and get a softer tone. You can get a pretty golden bell-like sound up there as well. The other thing to think about is your angle of attack. If you pluck the string so that your finger is perpendicular to the string, you're going to get the maximum volume and bite. There's a whole range of sounds you can get by changing that angle. Here I'm going to move toward almost parallel to the string. You almost don't get anything. So between adjusting your angle of attack, within a given song, I may play, this is my kind of home base. You want a little bit more bite for a fill or a solo, you can just rotate your wrist just very subtly this direction. And your tone changes. So you want to be kind of aware of that, and that's part of the fun of the banjo, is changing your sound for different parts of the song. There's a lot of fun things about banjo. So those are my thoughts about the right hand. I could go on blabbing for a long time about all the minute details, but keep those basic ideas in mind. You want to work with your hand, keep your hand in a position where you take advantage of the things it's strong at, and try not to do the things it's weak at. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube page here. Feel free to email me. You can email me your questions. I'll try to address them the best I can. Again, if you leave comments here, other people may have ideas or want to join in the discussion. We can kind of use it as a forum. So thanks a lot for your time, and hopefully something we talked about will help you get your playing going. There'll be more videos coming, so stay tuned. Thanks a lot for your time. Bye-bye. I like that tune. It's fun. All right, we'll see you. Bye.